It's a revolution in podcasts. That's it.
There you go.
Danny, unmute yourself. I just read your lips go, God damn it.
I said, God damn it. You know what? I can't recapture it. I think I said the funniest thing I've ever said, but I can't.
You can't say it twice.
I can't say it twice. It just won't be fresh.
It's just
I won't do that.
Oh.
It's between you and the Lord at this point.
That's some Southern Bay City stuff right there, Jimmy.
That is.
Yeah, that is not a New Jersey expression. I'll tell you that.
No.
Well, not something that people tend to say to a Jewish fellow, right?
No, we have a Lord.
No, you
don't think we have a God? You are a freaking monster. First of all, I don't even practice. But
by the way,
on behalf of
look at my
people,
shirt. Look at my shirt.
Oh yeah, I love you. All I saw were your
My sweet
phenomenal, your sweet.
I don't mind you saying it because they're pretty awesome. So go right ahead.
You're very proud of them.
Yeah, I think they should sponsor the podcast.
You get a couple drinks in you, and boy, you just talk about your boobs like they walked by and you were a construction worker.
Yeah, I could have a Gatorade and talk about them. I don't even need booze.
You just need like a bunch of butt pics, like by a pool, and you're all of a sudden you're on Instagram, just 500,000 followers on there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just like squeezing them together, talking about how blessed I feel. Yeah.
I mean, you've already heard our guest talk. Jenny, would you mind introducing our guest to America?
I would be honored. Okay. Our guest is one of my very best friends. And Danny, you're one of my very best friends, so this is extra special for me. It is musician, country singer, Houstonian, Aggie. Say that.
Yep.
Card-carrying Mensa member, right? Is that true? Yep. Yeah. Rich O'Toole. Yeah. Rich O'Toole, everybody.
Holy shit.
What's up?
Give him a big old-fashioned doing it yeehaw.
Give him a giddy up, everybody. Here he is. Yeah. Well, Rich, thank you so much for doing the podcast. This is special for me.
Yeah, I've been a big fan. I feel like I'm like the least star y'all have on. Y'all have like major celebrities on.
Yeah, you definitely are. I mean,
yeah. So it's an honor being here. Thank you.
You're the worst guest we've had this year.
I feel like it's like when you turn on the Tonight Show and you see someone get bumped and you're like, who the hell is this? You know, it's like that kind of feel.
It was, I mean, it was, we canceled, 20 people canceled. And so I'm really glad you got the chance. And you know, once my mom couldn't do it, I thought, yeah, let's have Rich on.
Yeah, I mean, understandable.
So Rich, okay, let's get it. You're in Houston right now.
I am, yeah.
And now, I will expect, like, you're a traveling man. You're a musician, you travel all the time, but Rich will do something that I'm always impressed with. You will move to a place for like 6 months.
Yeah. Well, sometimes by accident. I mean, I lived in LA for 5 years. Then I moved back to Texas. Then I was like, I missed LA. I went back to LA. And then I lived in New York City for 6 months. Then I bought a house in Nashville. Lived there about 1.5 years. And I got sick of it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see my mom in Houston. So I'm in an apartment here. But my job, we always have the tour. So I'm always on the road. So, and I don't have a wife. I'm still single. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't have to be. You know, what I should be doing is I should be living in like a different state every month, like in an Airbnb, and just go see the world. Because it kind of helps you write, you know, writing records and writing songs. If you're in the same place, you kind of get stale a little bit, you know.
I find that way even with writing that isn't set to music. It's like getting out, like going into nature, going to see someplace you haven't been. Always inspiring. I'm
the same way. Like I'll get full writer's block if I'm just stuck in one place. It's like even just going and running an errand, I'm clocking everything that's happening so I can get some form of inspiration for like, what did the bank teller just do? She made a weird face. Maybe I'll think of something that I can.
I'm the same. I mean, I've stayed in pretty much every hotel in the LA area because whenever I write a script, I to get myself motivated, I need just a change of environment and
you'll sequester yourself and
I just have to because it's like I guess like also I know I'm spending money on the room and it's like you better get some shit done to justify this.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving yourself your deadline by renting it.
Have you been recording during this period of time?
I have been, yeah. Actually, I got a cool job. The record label I was with, actually, they were like, hey, do you want to start your own label and we'll give you an imprint? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I basically became like a record, label head kind of, and they gave me an imprint. So I'm basically releasing my own records through the record label I was with. So we've been signing new acts, and like I've been recording. We have a new song coming out called 17 Wild Horses. It comes out in February. It's kind of based on Yellowstone, the TV show. So I've been we've been really working with them, trying to pitch it to them and yada, yada, yada. So it's got that like Western rock feel to it. But yeah, I've been trying to stay busy. I mean, when I'm not doing shows, I've been really good about the coronavirus. I don't want to do shows, honestly. I played a couple and it was just kind of depressing. So yeah, I've been flying to Nashville quite a bit and jumping in the studio and just getting a lot of material done, just so I have it stacked up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like, before you came on, I was talking, I was in a writer's group, and I was mentioning a writer I work with is just huge. He just knows everything about country music, talks about it, loves it. And I thought I don't love it, but I don't know as much as he does. And I mentioned you that we were seeing, and he was like, oh my God, I love that guy. He then played me over the Zoom, the cover of your version of the Wilco song.
Casino Queen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Because I love Wilco. And I love what you do with that. That's great. I just wanted to say, like, props.
No, thanks. Yeah, we had I had Pat Green, Jenny. You know who that? Jenny probably like lost her virginity at a Pat Green concert.
Oddly enough, I was not a Pat Green fan.
No, you weren't.
Must not have been very good, huh?
So Pat it was a duet. So me and Pat sang that song together. Yeah. So it was cool. No, I appreciate it. The funny thing about country music right now is like my hardest job is like with like Trump and all this like BS that's going on. It's so hard for me to say I sing country music because I really don't anymore. It's like it's almost like a division. It's like if there was a comedy writer that got elected president and everyone hated him, you'd be like, I'm a comedy writer, but I'm not racist. Yeah.
But
it's just so hard. It's like such a weird thing.
I wonder if I can ask you about that though, because for me, can't you see that as an opportunity to not get in line? And isn't like all music a little bit about rebellion? I mean, even Johnny Cash didn't play by the rules and by any means. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity because country music. It feels like there's opportunity to distinguish yourself from that. And I don't know.
There is. Jason Isbell is really good at doing that.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
My label was just like, we talked about it in a meeting and I said, hey guys, 6 months ago, I was like, hey, I really want to tell my fans that I just don't. I've been dying to say it. Like, I don't like Trump, and I voted for Biden. And I can't say that. I know people are going to listen to this podcast, but I'm okay with that. And my label's like, look, you're just going to lose. We did the research. You're going to lose 44% of your fan base. And I'm like, that's fine.
44% that you didn't want to begin with.
I didn't want that to begin with. And it's a way to kind of restart and let people know where you take a stand. And honestly, the people that ride or die with you will probably appreciate that. But I always for me, I was like the Elvis quote. He's like, dude, look, I'm not a politician. I'm a musician. I'll just stay out of it.
Yeah.
And so it was tough. But when the thing went down at the Capitol, I sent a shit ton of tweets out and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm done. And I want you to know where I stand on this deal.
Well, I gotta say though, the impact somebody like you has, and I know that there's a cost. I don't pretend to not know the cost when you do it. But like I think about Jenny, we talked about this in a previous podcast, but like Jim Gaffigan, the comedian Jim Gaffigan, who has a huge red state following, is very clean comic and brilliantly funny.
Yeah.
But like when he comes out and says, this is monstrous what's going on in Washington.
Yeah.
It has so much more impact than when like lefty Jew boy comedy writer says it. I'm pointing to myself.
It would be more shocking, Danny, if you were like, love Trump.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and it's like, there is something to be said for being courageous about it. I mean, Natalie, we always thought I don't.
Yeah. And Natalie Main's like, well, I was going to say, Rich, as hard as it is, I think, because I would have, I try, now I feel like Danny, probably because of this podcast and everything Trump has done, we've talked more about politics on this podcast when this was supposed to just be talking about comedy. But because of how fucking atrocious he's been, how can you not talk about it? How can anybody be on board? And I think for you, like, yes, if you're going to lose fans, obviously you said you've lost followers, but you're also going to gain a whole new audience of people going, hey, fuck, great.
You are, and I should. Danny was right. I should have used it early on. Honestly, 2 years ago, I should have just jumped on the train and said, I don't agree with this. I'm sorry. And just lost them then. It's kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off. You just kind of wait, and finally got to be like, all right, shit, let's rip it, man. Let's go.
And then you realize, that Band-Aid has been rotten this whole time.
It's been rotten the whole time.
Keeping it on my fucking hand.
But I gotta say, Rich, it's like, I think you're doing it at the right time. I'm doing it when it became too much. It's like, it revealed itself to you. It's not like you had to do it before, but we are in a crisis right now. And so I would, it's like, look, I was watching all day the Congress. There are people who are cowering under desks who are still not ready to come out against it.
Yeah,
their lives were. Mike Pence. They built a gallows for him. They were going to hang him.
Yeah,
and he still won't do it. So it's just like coming around to it is just like it's an act of bravery. I think it's good.
No, I get it. Half of it is just the headache of I enjoy getting on Twitter and following you and Jenny and Pat and all stuff because it's good writing. It's good humor, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
When I get on after I make a Trump comment, I go on Twitter. All of a sudden, I got 2,000 crazy people just tearing me apart, Googling my mom's maiden name, just the craziest shit. And you're like, do I really even need the headache? Don't need to say anything. I just want to have peace and drink coffee today. I don't feel like seeing all these people freaking beat me up. So I get it. It's a headache, and it is. Jenny, you made a good point. You said this is a comedy podcast. And now we're talking about politics, but I think politics has gotten so ridiculous that it's actually comical now.
Yeah.
Well, I think
it really is.
It's almost impossible to not talk about it. It's like, how can you not address this huge fucking elephant in the room?
The Capitol thing was like watching a Mel Brooks film. That could have been a scene in Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, the fight with the dancers.
Yeah. It's like, dude, are you kidding me right now? Am I really watching a Mel Brooks film right now?
It was one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen. And then I feel like every hour since then, we've just seen more and more video. We've heard more first, hand accounts of people some reporter from the Times was they ripped her lanyard off, pushed her down. These really just aggressive people, all based on what the president of the United States told them to do.
And the Congress people who said it and know it's a lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Osama bin Laden didn't fly the planes into the building. He just convinced a bunch of people that they get 78 virgins.
Right, exactly.
And there's no fucking difference in these. None of these Congress people or Trump believe there was voter fraud. For real. Maybe Louis Gohmert, the really dumb ones. But even he doesn't. They all know this was a lie that they told. They got other people involved so that you could make the case. Those people who are doing it, I'm not forgiving them. They want to prosecute. I want them rot in jail. But they think they're doing God's work. They don't see themselves as bad people. They believe that there was this huge fraud because the people they are lying to them. So I
feel like the people that fucking flew the planes into the Twin Towers thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
They've been it's brainwashing. It's true. This is what we were told to do by our leaders. So
I was a history minor, and it reminds me a page right out of Nazi Germany. It really does. All the things are correlating just exactly. It's this guy gets up here and says this, and these people are just blinded by it and go out and do it. And it's scary. I mean, that's one of the scariest things I've ever seen is seeing that. It's definitely a big giant black eye for America,
And I can understand. I know Richard, we've talked about it. We've texted, talked about how it would make you feel, when you're looking, once all this, the pandemic finally goes away, hopefully you're playing a concert, you're looking into the crowd and you're thinking, do you people believe in this guy? Or you it's hard?
It's hard for me. I mean, it's really hard for me. I almost tweeted out yesterday. I was like, from here on out, you'll be asked to leave if you wear a Trump t-shirt to my concert. I just I can't give you joy. I don't want to get up and give you joy. Yeah. And that's the hardest part in country music. And I hope people listen to this podcast, and I'm definitely going to retweet it. I'm going to get it out there when this is done, because I really want people to hear my side of the deal. But it really is odd, because there are half of my fan base really does believe Trump's like their Lord and Savior. It's like so crazy to me.
Well, maybe, all I can say about that is it's like you have to speak your truth. I mean, you can't be a fucking artist in anything if you're not being honest. And that doesn't mean you have to like attack or do anything like that. But you have to speak the truth. You're like in this, and you have to talk. It's like if we're on the Titanic, and somebody says, "Do we have to talk about the boat sinking all the time? Can we talk about something else?" No, the boat's fucking sinking.
The boat is sinking.
I'm just so tired of talking about how the boat's sinking.
Please, everyone, can we just finally move on?
Enough with the iceberg. I get it.
The iceberg hit it. Come on. Have you seen the lobster tank?
I am apolitical on icebergs.
I know, Danny, you're totally right. And I give so many hints. In my music, I had a single called Peter and Paul, and I mentioned Trump, and I mentioned the wall and the bridge. And people thought I was for Trump. I was like, are you not listening to this song? It's an anti-Trump rap song. They still didn't get it. They mentally will spin stuff in their direction, no matter how obvious it is.
Whatever narrative they want to create.
Whatever narrative they want to believe, they believe. It's crazy to me.
No, they played for years at Republican rallies, Born in the USA.
Yeah.
And did you listen to the lyrics of Born in the USA?
Springsteen is like my idol. That's an anti-Vietnam, anti-American song.
It's an anti-imperialist American song. And how an anti-wage gap, and it's all about progressive change.
I'll tell you, and I know, Danny, you're a Jersey boy too, so that was extra. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Born in the USA. Like, you're the boss. My all-time favorite band is CCR. All-time.
Yeah.
Favorite.
Oh, yeah.
When Trump played Fortunate Son,
I couldn't believe it.
I thought my head was going to explode. I'm like, you're a fucking draft dodger. Are you serious? Oh my God.
Fortunate Son is the greatest protest song ever written.
Ever.
And it's Fortunate Son. That's you. You didn't have to go.
Yeah. I love John Fogerty for stop fucking playing my song.
Oh,
I had dinner with John Fogerty. That was one of the coolest things I've ever got to do about that.
Oh my God.
He was amazing, man. My drummer at the time, Goose, who Jenny knows. Remember Goose, my first tour?
Yeah, Goose.
Good looking guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Danny, the middle of my
picture one time of, he's like, this is my new band. I was like, who's the drummer? He's like, oh, that's Goose. I'm like, I bet he didn't get any pussy. Look at Goose.
Yeah.
So what happened?
He was king of the tour bus, man.
Yeah.
So we're on the bus and we get a phone call into the tour, thank God. And Goose is like, hey, I just got an audition for Fogerty. Fogerty's looking for a new drummer. And so I was like, dude, go take it. We only have one gig left, and we're taking off for 6 months. And he gets the gig. And so their first gig, he invites me to the concert, and he's like, hey, me and John are going to have dinner. So I just show up, and I sit there for 45 minutes, and me and John just talk Telecasters and amps for 45 minutes. And one of the smartest guys, nicest guys, has his shit together. I mean, that goes to show you, if you don't do drugs and stay off the booze, you can have a really long career in rock and roll. That guy's 75.
I didn't know that about
him. I know, we like our rock stars. But it's he's just so smart and talented, and still sings in the same key. Because I was asking him, I was like, hey, I noticed at soundcheck you're still singing Fortunate Son in F. You know how hard that is? I can't do that. He's like, yeah, I still sing in the same key. I was like, holy shit. So yeah, that guy's amazing.
No, that group. And by the way, when you went to that concert, I want to make you tell the story. That was in Las Vegas.
That was in Vegas, yeah.
That's when I had a show in Vegas.
That's right.
And you so you had drove to Vegas, and I was at the Tropicana, brag, performing, and John Fogerty was it at the Wynn Hotel? Was that right? Or MGM? Where was he performing?
He was at the Wynn, yeah.
He was at the Wynn. Okay, and then you went and saw it, and then you came to my show.
Your show, yeah.
The late one or something. Danny, you'll love this. Rich, I'm like, where are you staying, Rich? He goes, that Hooters Hotel.
But Danny, listen to this story. That was bullshit. And if Priceline, if you're listening, I'm friggin' still pissed about this. So on Priceline, it says 4-star hotel or equivalent to the Mandalay Bay. It says Mandalay Bay or equivalent, 4-star hotel. I'm like, okay, $119 a night. Sounds great. Dude, the Hooters Hotel is not equivalent to the fucking Mandalay Bay. Come on.
We hung out. Rich and I go drinking
so pissed,
and everything. Dude. And then he goes back to the hotel, and then he texts me. He goes, I think I'm gonna go get some wings. I was like, well, you're at the right
hotel
place. And he's like, I gotta tell you, you know, like the 3 a.m. wait staff is not the A team of.
Dude, the girl that brought wings to my room at 3 a.m. was pregnant. Like a pregnant woman brought me wings to my room at 3 a.m. I was like, oh my God, can I give you?
Were you like, is it mine?
The first year this kid's alive, like.
God. Wings and motorboating.
I mean, it probably wasn't her first child. So
no.
That is really funny. I've never even stepped into that hotel. I had a friend who stayed there and said it's pretty much what you think.
It's exactly what you think. It's like staying. It's like sleeping
staying
in a Hooters. It's like I didn't want to sleep in a Hooters.
What were the rooms like?
They were just like, it's like if Motel 8 got kind of like a facelift. Oh, you know, it's like a nicer Motel 8. You're like sleazy. You know, it's just hard sleeping in there because you're like, you know, there's the black light things everywhere.
Suite like, with herpes or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, who actually who husband and wife stays in that room that actually paid for that room? You know, they're having the most like dirty biker sex of all time. Like, you know, it's just like, and now I'm sleeping there. It's like shit.
This is not doing anything to disabuse me of country music stereotypes. Like the country music, because I guess I always imagine that's where the country music people must stay, is at the Hooters.
No, it's not.
The country music people do stay at other places. No, they all have to stay in a barn or at a Hooters.
Yes. What's the equivalent to like New York? Is it like?
Oh God, yeah. St. Louis,
Birmingham, or something. Come stay at Birmingham. Biscuits and gravy at the buffet tonight.
Yeah.
That was truly, though, when I was in Vegas, that was one of the funniest things of you telling me that. You're like, where are you staying at? Hooters Hotel. Like, I honestly didn't even know they had a hotel.
Yeah, it used to be something else. It was like another shitty hotel before they bought it. I can't remember what it was, but.
Do you remember that Hooters had an airline for 6 months? Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, so they had this airline. Google it; it's hilarious.
I vaguely.
They bought like a shitty airline. They had like 30 planes. It was like Southwest, and they had like chicken wings and girls in the outfits, and they totally went bankrupt. I mean, only like perverted, horny dudes were flying it. But it's a good Google for a night. You should definitely Google Hooters Airlines.
I only hope the pilots were also Hooters girls. That's the only thing I'm hoping right here.
Tammy, we have some wind.
Hooters Airline.
All right, thank you for flying Hooters Airline. Okay, please, we're going to have a little turbulence as we get.
In the event of a water landing, I can be used as a flotation device.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably true.
Anyone wants any alcohol?
That's actually a fact.
Shots with you. Okay.
Body shots.
It's probably those guys that are just flying all the time thinking that's their girlfriend. No, you don't.
Yeah, it's probably, yeah. He's in his mobility scooter, like taking up like 3 chairs. It's like, he's flying it to Kansas City and back.
Rich and I, okay, so both of you know my mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Rich, I had to tell about when we decided to have a mother dinner date.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember, a couple of years ago. So, Danny, you know how when I go back to Houston for Christmas, which I didn't do this year, I always will stay downtown Houston, and I'll like go to a Texans game, Rockets game, and I usually do a comedy show with these guys called the Whiskey Brothers that do this Christmas show every year. And Rich, you performed at it.
Yeah.
And we started talking. We're like, we should go, and like, my mom was going to come get me, and then we were going to go up to my sister's. I was like, oh, we should all go have dinner together. And Rich and I start talking about like, well, get ready, because my mom might say some shit. You know, like Danny, quirky. She could just.
I understand.
And Rich was like, yeah, well, you haven't met my mother. And like, sure. You know, we'll see. You know, battle of the moms. Danny, I have to tell you, my mom to this day still laughs about it. She's like, we got to Uber, go to the restaurant. Rich and his mom were at the bar having a glass of wine. And we walk up, introduce moms, say hi, and the hostess, let me get you to your table. We hadn't even sat down, and I hear Rich's mom go, I got down to 3 cigarettes a day when I was pregnant with Richard.
Oh my God.
Like, Mom, what the fuck? And she's like,
You out Corky?
My mom was silent. Like, I've never seen my mom go like, whoa, my mom just has no filter. She just spurts it out.
I know.
But she met her match with Patricia, and Rich's mom, who I fucking love, looks so much like Kris Jenner. It's startling.
Yeah, she does a lot.
So much so that Kim Kardashian stopped her at the Burbank airport and was like, oh my God, and took a picture with Rich's mom and posted it on her Instagram.
Yeah, posted on Instagram, yeah. My phone was like blowing up. I was like, they're like, dude, Kim Kardashian has posted a photo of your mom on her Instagram. I was like, what?
We'll have to link that to the
Yeah, so we have to. Is your mom an influencer now?
No, God, no. No.
All I would have loved was to see Kim and your mother just really sit down and have a deep dinner dive, because I could only imagine the things that your mom would say to her.
I just had to I had to talk to my mom all the time about my mom's a really great person. She's just from a time, and like Danny, you know this, she's 67 now. So like we go eat Chinese food, she'll talk to the waiter really slow. She's like, I want hot mustard. Oh. I'm like, Mom, they speak English. Like, you don't have to, it's like that age where you're like, they're constantly, I don't know what it is. And I'm always nervous when I'm with her. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing?
But it's kind of like, it's not, I don't find it offensive when somebody doesn't know any better. Like,
no, if
right, she doesn't know. She's a great heart. She's not racist.
No, it's like this, just of a different generation. And
that's so funny.
But that was one of my favorite things, was your mom, before we even sat down, saying that she got down to 3 cigarettes a day with you. And
she's hilarious. I mean, Danny, I have a really funny childhood. Jenny will fill you in later, but it's like,
no, fill us all in here a little bit.
Oh no, it's great. Like it'd be a great sitcom. I'm from a middle class family. Like I wasn't raised I had a great childhood. I really did. It was just like Ginny knows, it's really funny because my dad was married and he had 3 daughters. Uh-huh. He was going through a divorce, and he met my mom, and my mom accidentally got pregnant. Then he went back to try to work it out with his wife. Uh-huh. She got pregnant, and so I have an Irish twin. So I have a brother, and we're 6 months apart.
Oh my God!
So then my dad left and didn't date either of them. So he just left and was single. And was like, dude, this is weird. I don't know what's going on. So my mom, and then he remarried my mom when I was 5. So it was one of those things where it was just funny. It's just everything about it was just comical.
Well, you told me this story about you're me and my brother and my dad are at a restaurant or something, and y'all are playing around, and the server goes, "Oh, look at you two! And are you twins?" "No, I'm 6 months older." And then your dad's like, "Guys, remember what I told you in public."
No, every time in the car, my dad would be like, "All right, when we go in there, do not tell him. I think we're actually 4.5 months apart." He's like, "Don't tell him you're 4 months apart." And the first thing out of my mouth, we're both 7 years old. We're like, "Yeah, we're 4 months apart." We couldn't not tell people that. We thought it was so freaking cool. And my dad and mom were just like, "Oh my God, you don't understand until you get older how embarrassing this is to your father."
Now, were the other women?
Well, he did it. It was his fault, so it should be.
Yeah, he did.
Was the other woman, the first wife, did she remain in your life for this period of time once the dad?
Not really. I think she took it kind of hard. Me and my brothers and sisters, we're all best friends. We all get along. My sister's having a baby right now. She was didn't want the marriage to end, obviously, and probably saw my mom as kind of a mistress or something. I don't think so. My mom was. My mom was just yeah, your dad was divorced. I met him. I asked him 100 times. He was living in an apartment by himself. He was going through divorce, and so she probably saw it like that. And so my mom and her didn't really get along. But my mom was a stepmom when they were married to all the kids. And so we're all a giant happy family. My dad just kind of had a little hiccup. And it's to me, it's comical,
It's really fucking comical.
And also, it happened for you at such a young age. It was just your normal.
Yeah, it's my normal. I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to have a little brother. We look alike,
Oh, that's the best thing, too. It's if somebody said y'all were twins, you ask how old you are, you're like, yeah, that's his twin. You're like, no,
his twin, yeah.
The first time you're like, well, I have half siblings, and you're telling me I have half sister, and then my half brother and I are 4 months apart. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call a time.
Yeah. What is this?
Wait, what? I mean, my sister and I are almost 2 years apart, and I thought that was crazy.
But the stereotype, they call that an Irish twin. Our last name's O'Toole, so it's you fit the stereotype.
Every part of it. That's so
like
funny.
we nailed it. We nailed
By the way, this picture is unbelievable.
Oh, a guy just texted us the picture of. This is the one that Kim took of your mom.
Yeah, it said like Kris
I
Jenner much.
remember this. Weirdly.
Yeah. That's Rich's mom. Isn't that like hilarious?
That's crazy.
Yeah. She looks so much like, didn't your mom start growing her hair out too after that? She didn't like
Yeah, Mom, it got ridiculous. She was in restaurants and especially when she come visit me, we go eat in like Beverly Hills or we're in LA. There's like paparazzi and I'd have to turn around and be like, this is not Kris Jenner. Like, stop.
Now,
this is a loving mother.
They just have the same bone structure and the same eyes and the same haircut. Like, it was just so weird that it all came apart. And my mom's looked like that for 30 years. So it wasn't like anything new. It was just when the Kardashians got famous, we were like, Mom, you probably need to grow your hair out.
Now, I assume your dad looks like Caitlyn?
Looks like what?
Caitlyn Jenner?
Yeah. I wish that'd make it even better.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious, man. That family's so funny. You know, like everyone loves to hate them, but like at the end of the day, they're just, you don't feel bad for them. You just like, I don't know what you call it. You just
I don't feel bad for him, but I do think that Kris
carved something out for themselves. Oh, I lost my camera. They carved something out for themselves. It was, they
did, but that mom, I just can't get past like her kind of whoring her daughters out. You know, like
yeah, for sure,
quite literally whoring her.
Literally, like she's the one who distributed that porn,
right?
That Kim and Ray J had, and I remember when Kendall Jenner turned 18.
Yeah,
tweeted like totally just a joke, and I was like, and 3, 2, 1 before her mom makes her like pose topless or something.
Yeah.
And I of course joking, and less than a week later there were her nipples. Like
yeah.
So like
the mom definitely did like horror mom. I mean, that was not cool. But I mean, look what they did. I don't know. Is that the new way of show business? I don't like it, but
yeah, I mean, there's too many other people to. It's so funny. Like all of those little petty hatreds that I've had in the past. Like it's like I just don't have time for it. Like it's like we're living like in a world of true monsters everywhere, and so it's like I don't know. I kind of did a Jenny tweet the other day. It's sort of up your alley, but it's like Us Magazine on Twitter. Like in the midst of all of this, they just post. Kim seen without ring, engagement ring publicly. And I just retweeted and I said, read the room, Us.
Yeah, read the room. Yeah.
It's like, who gives a shit?
She could have that ring shoved up her ass on full. Like at this point, people are like, great, we've seen it all. Just next.
Yeah.
Bigger fish.
And the fact that we're even talking about it, that's what the saddest part is you can't stop talking about it sometimes. Like it's like, all right, next, let's go. But I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, they carved out, Danny's right, they carved out something for themselves that like can't be ignored for some reason.
I mean, I feel with like everything that happened, I'm still like, somebody just posted like, what's PTSD without the P? That's what I have.
Yeah.
From seeing what happened at the Capitol, it's like I'm still so like not over it. It was still so shocking that when I was watching it, like that evening, I'm like, oh wait, there's a pandemic. Totally forgot about it.
Yeah, and not only is there a pandemic, 4,500 people died yesterday. It's like it's records. It's just this record high. It's so bananas.
Are y'all having?
No, it's like 9/11 like every day. It's like the saddest thing in the world. It's so sad.
The amount of deaths. I mean, even hell more so than 9/11. I mean,
every day.
Do y'all feel like, because I feel like our listeners maybe would appreciate it, does it get to y'all? Do you have moments like I'll wake up and sometimes I feel like, that feeling you have when your alarm doesn't go off and you wake up and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Like you have that's how I've felt.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like, just because it's so much, it's so overwhelming what's happening in the world that it becomes like a fucking mental panic.
Do you get that, right?
Yeah. I would say it again.
Do you get that? Do you feel that as well?
I do a lot. No, actually, so I did dry January. I was to the point where like, I'm not an alcoholic by any means, but like I was waking up every day so panicked. I couldn't wait till like noon to have a glass of wine and just like calm down. So I kind of I was like, look, Rich, you can't be like ripping wine and doing it every day just because like you're feeling this. But I feel like I'm wearing a coat. Like I feel like 2020 and 2019, there's this like coat that I'm constantly wearing when I step outside, when I go into places, when I go into restaurants, when I'm talking to someone. I feel like I can't wait to take that coat off. And it's like this weight on this like anxiety, pressure, and almost like a little bit of depression. And I've never suffered from depression. I've had anxiety because musicians, I'm on stage, yada, 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 but not like this year. I mean, this year was just like, I didn't pick up a guitar for 6 months. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do anything. You know, I was like, just hard even getting out of bed because I was like, man, the world seems, everyone's scared. Everyone's just obnoxiously blaming and finger pointing. You can't walk into a Walgreens and if you sneeze or cough, everyone's just like, oh, there he is. There's the reason. And it's just sad, you know, and I think everyone has that. And that's what's causing so much hysteria in our country is everyone's real. I think a lot of people are feeling that, you know.
I definitely am. Like, I've never suffered from depression, thank God. I definitely had anxiety like you. But yeah, I will say that from like the holiday season till almost like last week, I was in as dark a place as I've ever been. Like, not like I was going to hurt but I just was like, that feeling of hopelessness. And, you know, you know, it's like, I have a shit ton of personal stuff because I'm going through a divorce. And it was just like all of that was coming out. And then the uncertainty about the business world. And like, it just was like, ugh. I really I reached out to friends of mine who I knew suffer from depression. And I just was, is this how you feel all the time when you're not? And it's like, fuck, I'd rather have physical pain, I think.
Yeah.
What I was just feeling.
Yeah, because physical pain, it's like, oh, I broke my finger. That hurts. I can
understand.
That fucking hurts.
Yeah.
When you're just laying there going, I don't want to get out of bed. What's wrong? Like, why?
Yeah, if I hurt my leg, I just limp to the car and be totally cool. But like when you have that depression, you don't even want to walk to your car. You don't even want to you don't even want to do anything.
No.
And just that feeling is just, I understand it now. Like I never understood depression until like, I think we've all kind of gone through that with this, and it's debilitating. That's what the word is. It just kind of takes your legs out from underneath you, and you're just like, man, I don't want to do anything.
I know.
It's really tough. And I feel like all of our listeners are, because there's so many people that I know are going through this, and I feel like it's probably best to just talk about it too, so that other people don't feel less alone. That you know, everyone is, you know, it's been so much, and there's just so much anger in the world too, that like that, you know, everything feels too much at times. And I know I've noticed that I've read so many different things about people that have like somebody's committed suicide or whatever. I keep seeing that, and I'm just like, man, this is as bad as it gets, you know?
Yeah.
This is as bad as it gets. They're just saying the numbers people aren't forgetting, but the suicide numbers are skyrocketing. I mean, so not only are we, you know, COVID is killing people, we're also killing people financially, mentally. I mean, there's a full spectrum that's causing a lot of stuff to go down, and that's terrible, you know?
Yeah. And like, just like the PSA for this, which we don't normally do, but is, if you haven't heard from a friend in a little while, call them. I'll say reach out to people. First of all, it'll make you feel better, but you may like be that thing that like sort of pulls somebody out.
Yeah.
You know?
You never know, just like a text or somebody.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
Don't know, when you're in such a dark place and you just even get something that's positive, this little light in the midst of all this, it makes such a huge difference.
Send a fax.
Yeah, send a
fax.
Yeah,
you know, we had a good idea.
Telegram, you know.
My buddies and I did this. We had a friend that's kind of in a dark spot, and we know that he loves gumbo. And so he loves cooking gumbo and shit, you know. And so we all texted him and said, hey, we're having gumbo night, but we set it for like a month and a half in advance. So it gave him something to look forward to. You know, it's one of those things where if he's in a really dark place and if he was like going to hurt himself, he probably would wait because he knows how much he looks forward to that, to like gumbo night with me and the boys, you know. So that's another good idea, is like if you know someone really likes something, set a date with them, but do it like a month in advance, so it gives them like a window of hope.
Well, yeah, like having something to look forward to. It makes a huge difference. So where you're like, oh, in 2 weeks I'm doing this, and then you get like, okay, cool.
All right, going on. I'll get my shit together by then. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And I think that's super important, and I hope that everybody, definitely, like Danny said, check in with your friends. If
it makes a difference, man. It does. Okay, well, now we're at the part of the show where we talk about what we've been like thinking about, what we've been watching, not thinking about. Like what you know, what's gotten you through the pandemic, Rich? Anything anything you stream that you liked, or any recommendations?
Just everything. I've been having weird taste. Like this week, I've been watching all of John Hughes' films.
Oh, you
just because
You can't go wrong
just
with
all of them. Just how they're shot, how they're all shot in Chicago.
Yeah.
I kind of had a revelation this week.
Okay.
So my friends were like, watch Bridgerton. Have you seen Bridgerton on Netflix?
I haven't yet. No, it's like a real like bodice ripper. They say, right? It's like period.
It's like a period piece, like kind of softcore period piece porn type stuff, but real British, real like takes place in the 1700s. Everyone's dressed like the 1700s. And it's funny. So it's written on the fact that like nothing existed as we know right now. It's just written as a period piece. So I'm watching it, and the first 5 minutes, the Queen of England is black. So my internal clock, I'm history minor, internal clock stops and goes, well, this can't be true. The Queen's black. and so it's written on the fact that it's written to the point where if slavery didn't exist, if nothing existed, there's a princess black, like, you know, there's a lot of black characters in this, which I realized I was like, I'm not a racist person by any means, but it stopped me in my tracks going, she can't be queen. And then I realized I was like, yeah, she can. This isn't, someone wrote this not following the guidelines of, you know, what happened from the 1600s on, you know?
I think Hamilton sort of prepped us for this.
They did.
You know, he kind of did that too. And I think, that's the most interesting thing I've heard about that. So I might check that out now.
I kind of felt that way about Schitt's Creek, where they built a world, a town where there's no racism, there's no homophobia. It's
everybody's
never addressed.
Okay with, I know.
And that's something that, like, watching it took me a while to go, wait, there's the gay couple, and everyone's just like, oh, well, there's such and such. You don't get that whispery.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the movie Lars and the Real Girl with Ryan Gosling, and he had that doll that he was in love with? You ever see that?
Yeah.
What I loved about that movie was everybody was just totally supportive in this little small town of him, kind of eccentric guy who was in love with a sex doll.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, you do you, man. Good
and
for
it
you.
was like, I kind of dug that.
I just watched it. I started watching Ted Lasso.
I gotta watch.
Okay, I haven't gotten to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've heard good things about it, but I haven't watched it. I sat down. I watched the entire season in one sitting. It was so good, and I have to say it was so positive and uplifting. And like, there's moments where you'll cry, but it's out of like kindness. You know, like it's really, really. I highly recommend it. I mean, I watched it. I was like, this. Immediately, I said Bill Lawrence, who did the show. I was like, I fucking love Ted Lasso. He's like, thank you. So I was so blown away by it, because it was just, it's so well done. The acting's great, the writing is great, but it was such a positive, wonderful thing to watch during.
A buddy of mine wrote on that show, Bill Rubel. I'm gonna watch it.
But for Brett Goldstein, I don't know if you know Brett. I've done stand-up and stuff with him. He's in it, and he's fantastic. Jason Sudeikis is phenomenal, but highly recommend that.
Yeah, I need to see that. I'll put it on my list.
Wonder Woman 1984.
The best movie I've ever seen.
I started watching it 2 weeks ago. It's still going.
That movie it's unbelievable. Like, everybody told me how bad it was. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, and it was worse.
It was.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was funny that it's called Wonder Woman. She's never called Wonder Woman. She's Diana.
Right.
I'm like, my mom's friends are named Diana, and the villain was Barbara. I'm like, are we really Diana and Barbara?
It had no reason to be in the 80s. They exploited that not at all. Also, for the whole movie, which they never talk about, Wonder Woman is raping some guy because it's just his body. Like, we don't know, like, we don't even care. Oh, who cares? Chris Pine came in and took his body. We're just totally fine with that. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, some guy that has been fully fucking, Patrick Swayze ghosted.
Yeah.
She's just going to town on this guy.
It's just the stupidest, horrible movie.
Yeah, it was. Another thing I watched on Disney Plus was that movie Soul.
I like that. Did you
I haven't seen that yet.
fucking loved it. I didn't know anything about what it was about, and I loved it. I
thought Soul was fantastic, and I mean, there are Pixar movies like I still probably like Coco more, but I will say the animation in Soul World where they is some of the coolest animation I've ever seen in anything. It's just fantastic, and it's such heart, and it was beautiful.
I need to watch that. I'll watch that tonight.
Yeah, definitely watch it. And when you see these images of them in New York, the way that New York looks, like this animation, I was blown away. I couldn't believe like how that's so crazy how they can do that now. Like just the things that
gorgeous.
It's getting wild. I think in 20 years from now, what they're gonna be able to do just can blow my mind. I mean, 10 years ago, we had a flip phone 10 years ago, right? When did the iPhone come out? In like 2008?
I think like 2006 or something, I think maybe.
Do you know that after the Capitol Hill thing, you know that shot of Lindsey Graham going through the airport being yelled at?
Yeah.
That motherfucker had a flip phone.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he
I
did.
recorded it. I'll text it to both of you. He had a flip phone. I was like, that's par for the course for Lindsey Graham. Why wouldn't you have a flip phone?
Yeah.
Motorola Razor. Danny, what have you watched?
So both of those things, Wonder Woman 84, Soul, I got hooked on. A friend of mine recommended this series, and it's a French series, subtitled, called, out here it's called Call My Agent. Mm-hmm. And I guess there it was called 10% in French. And it's about this talent agency in Paris, and they bring in real actors. I didn't realize this till way long into it, that it was like, oh, those are actual actors. But the characters in it are so good. It's funny. I mean, it's French, so there's like, they do a couple stupid things, but it's like the plot sometimes relied on too much coincidence, which is like something in French farce. But it was really like amazing and good.
Where is that at?
Call My Agent on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
And season 4 comes out, and they did 3 seasons, and season 4 comes out in like a week. I can't wait.
Fantastic.
Oh wow, Call Me. All right, I'm putting that on
My Agent. I
haven't watched a couple of these. I mean, I haven't even heard of some.
I haven't heard of this one either. So, well, that's all I got.
That's all I've got. Rich, is there anything you want to promote or any?
Yeah, please.
Where can people find you on social media?
Everywhere. I mean, my last name's unique, so it's like just type in Rich O'Toole on Google, and I'll pop up, or just in Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music. I don't. How do people listen to music? Like Danny, how do you listen to music?
I do Spotify and Apple Music. I have both of them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So if you got one of those, or if you're one of those like weird guys that listens to like Deezer or like Tidal or something, I don't know, whatever.
I don't do Tidal and Deezer. I bet we have some Pandora people out there.
Pandora, yeah.
Let me hear from the Pandora people.
I like Pandora. I'm not mad at it. Wait, your album that you have, New York, can we like put a link or something to that?
Sure, yeah. Just copy paste the link from Spotify or Apple Music or
whatever.
We
can do that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, I appreciate it, Rich.
It was a pleasure, and when this is all over, I'd love to come see you live and or at least just drink with you.
For sure, yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I'll let you know when I'll be in LA probably next month when everything opens back up, but probably not. They probably won't open it back up.
Well,
but we'll sit down. We'll all go to lunch or something. I'd love to, man. That sounds amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
Cool.